Okay, so we've done our basics here. What I want to do, I'm just going to drag a marquee around all this stuff and delete it. I want to go to my guides, view, guides, and clear guides. So we've got a blank page again. Now, let's have a look at some of the tools here in Illustrator and some of the keyboard shortcuts. So you'll notice all my tools are here. If I want to hide them, I can just hit the Tab key on my keyboard and get rid of my rules. Command R, we've already mentioned that. Tab to bring all the tools back. And there we are there. And I can close that. And the tool for my pen tool is still there. And you'll notice that there are a few others here. So you'll notice this one here. I could drag that bar out. Anything where you've got this little arrow, there's a pop-out bar. And that allows you to do certain things. Now, what we did before was we created just a simple straight edge object. What I'm going to do now is drag out a rectangle, and you'll notice that what I can do a couple of things here. So you'll notice these little circles here. I'm going to get my white arrow tool and drag around there, and you'll notice now I could curve the corners, and I could grab these two and curve them a lot more, so I can end up with a shape like that. Command Z just to undo what I've done. The other thing I can do is I could go to my corner convert tool, my anchor point tool, and I can actually turn this into a curved shape in the same way that we did with our pen tool earlier. And again, if I click back on them, they're all going to turn back into a rectangle. You'll also notice that I have these handles up here, so I can click and drag the size of something just by dragging these handles. You'll see there's one in the middle, one at the edge, and so on. The other thing I could do if I wanted to is I can click on one individual point and I can drag it round, and I can drag another one round, and so on. The other thing you may find, and if I get my pen tool here and I click on a point there, it will actually delete it. I can also go through and add a point, which means I can go through and add a point there, and my pen tool, add a point, and drag that out and drag that in, and so on. You also will notice that there is a pen plus tool, so it kind of does both, I guess. But if you've got the pen tool active and you click on a curve, it will automatically add a point. Click on a point that's already there, it will delete it, and so on until eventually I have a triangle, I guess, and so on. Now, remember that the black arrow tool is for shifting whole objects around, and you'll notice the bounding box here is outside of the object now because it's not a rectangle. The white arrow tool is for shifting individual points around. So if you get frustrated and all the points are moving, then just remember that the black arrow tool is probably selected. Now, I think what we'll do is I'm going to show you some of the other generic shapes that are in here. So we have the ellipse tool, and this is a little trick. If I click and drag on my ellipse out from one corner, you'll notice if I press my shift key down, it turns into a circle. The other thing that I can do, if I press my option button down on my keyboard, you'll actually see it drags out from the center. So let's do that from the outset. I'm going to press the option button down on my keyboard, and you'll notice now that it's drawing out from the center. So shift key constrains the X and Y axes. Holding down the option button on the keyboard will draw out from the center of an object, and it doesn't matter which one of these we're using. So it doesn't matter whether it's a star, option drag, and if I hold down my shift key, you notice it keeps it straight. My polygon tool, and it will do the same thing. So option drag, holding down the shift key. If If I don't hold my shift key, it will do that. Now, one of the other things that we haven't done, and I'll do it first of all with a rectangle, is actually see how we can specify a particular shape. So instead of clicking and dragging with the rectangle tool, I'm just going to click once. And you'll notice it gives me an option of putting in a size. So I might put in 50 by height 100, click OK, and you'll notice it's created a shape from that corner where I clicked. I'm just going to delete that, and this time I'm going to hold down the Option button on my keyboard, and you'll notice now it created that shape in the center of where my cursor was. So that's a little bit just using shapes.